Welcome to another episode of The Only Playbook. We are live. That is right. We are live on Instagram right now on The Only Playbook. Figured we'd give this a shot. Episode 29. We're previewing week 15. God, it's just been all day. My phone has been blowing up. COVID this, COVID that. 16 players out for this team, 46 players out for this team. This team's bringing up their practice squad.
Yeah.
It's like just ridiculous how big COVID's going to impact the playoffs for fantasy football.
For sure. And we got games on random days now.
Yeah.
We got a doubleheader on Tuesday. When was the last time you saw a doubleheader on a
Dude,
Tuesday?
Extend the NFL week as long as possible is what I say.
Every day of the week.
More days, more football. I mean, we cannot.
I feel like we could cure depression.
Oh,
with football?
Football every day?
Just do football every day.
NFL game every day.
That would be great. That'd be great.
That'd be fantastic. Yeah. Again, episode 29. Thank you guys for joining us. Thanks for whoever joins this at any point tonight. Really appreciate it. Social media, first things first. Again, first time going live. We're everywhere. We're live on Instagram. We have Twitter at Only Playbook, TikTok. We're on all the podcast apps, Spotify, YouTube, Anchor, Google, Apple. So give us a listen, give us a follow, like, subscribe, tell your friends. Shout out to Clayton at work today. Randomly walked by, said he really likes the podcast. Appreciate that because he was very blunt. He was like, I went into it thinking I really wasn't going to like it, to be honest with you. And I did. So appreciate that feedback, man.
Good job, Clay.
Keep on listening, baby. So thank you so much. Let's kick things off. Shashot, this is going to be the longest segment we've had all year.
Fudge.
Injuries, and not even COVID.
So let me start off by saying the game on Sunday has been moved. One game has been moved to Monday. The Raiders, Browns do not play at 5 p.m. on Monday. Tuesday, the Hawks and the Rams play at 7. Tuesday, the Washington football team and the Eagles also play at 7. So I hope they decide to switch that up because that would be a lot more fun than to have multiple screens to look at. But that's just how things are right now. It could still change. More games could be moved. But anyways, second thing I'm going to start off by saying is there's 4 teams that have been decimated by COVID. The Rams, 25 players as of this morning. Washington football team, 21 players. The Browns, 20 players. And Bears, 12 players.
It's almost half the team.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah, it is. It is almost half the team. So that's why they moved the game. It made sense, right? So let me just start off with the COVID stuff, and then we'll go to actual injuries. I'll make it quick. These are only the players that are pertinent to fantasy because, it's going to take us all day if we do the other things. So first up on the list, I have Sean Payton. So
Kevin James
will not be at the game. Kevin James could never. But I am not going to be watching that movie.
It's so dumb, bro. Oh my god.
But Sean Payton's on the list, which is a big news, right? Because he's a big focal point of that offense. Yep. So just a heads up, things could be a little weird without Sean Payton, but we'll see. The Bucs and the Jacksonville Jaguars, 2 Florida teams with no COVID.
Wow. What from
Impressive.
Florida?
Somebody make it make sense.
Florida, no COVID.
Make it make sense. But
or maybe they were smart enough and more of those players are vaccinated or something.
Yeah, the Buccaneers without the fake IDs are 100% vaccinated.
yeah.
So outside of the fake IDs. But anyways, it's just shocking to me, right? That's the 2 Florida team. Florida man, unless Tom Brady's there, Florida man doesn't matter, right? So anyways, that was just a fun little thing to notice that Jacksonville and Bucs have no COVID problems as of now. Let's move on to actual COVID problems. Tyler Lockett, Russell Wilson's number 1 target as of the last as of the whole season. So he's got COVID. That should open up some room for DK.
Your boy.
Yeah. Big test.
Against you.
Big test.
I know, that sucks.
DK Metcalf
And
is
Jalen
also
Ramsey
not
went
on the injury report at all. So he's off of the injury report.
Hallelujah.
It should be 20 targets for DK.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting out of this.
And Ramsey. Isn't there Ramsey news?
Ramsey's on the COVID list. Ramsey's on the COVID list.
Let's go, DK.
And Von Miller's on the COVID list. So you know what you said about the Seahawks maybe winning this game, and then this is it. This is their chance.
That slowly opening up,
right?
Yeah.
For that 9-8 season.
Yeah. But anyways, Alex Collins is also on the COVID list, but nobody cares. Quez Watkins for the Eagles on the COVID list. Ooh. Allen Robinson on the COVID list, but another player that matters more than Allen Robinson to us Vikings fans, Eddie Jackson, is on the COVID list. So that means KJ Osborne, those guys, big things. Expect big things.
Throwing fast. I might be starting Kirk. Okay, we'll get to that.
Yeah. Anyways, there were. It's not just the COVID list. There's the other illnesses that we just kind of ignore.
Yeah.
The Bears had 8 players on that other illnesses list, including Montgomery and his backup Herbert. But 7 of those 8 players are back today, including Montgomery. So life is okay as of now. I also dropped Herbert and picked up Williams.
So did I.
It's just big brain moves, man. You got to make these moves. Okay, and then Baker and Keenum, positive. So they have Nick Mullins starting.
Wow.
Jarvis Landry's also positive. So I don't know who's going to throw who's going to be throwing the ball to who, but we'll figure it out slowly.
Oh, man.
Odell was negative this morning. So I think if he gets another negative tomorrow, which he should.
Way to beat the trend, Odell.
Yeah, finally, right? And then Heineke also positive for the Washington football team. Elijah Moore, we knew he was positive last couple of days. No, actually, he was injured.
Mitchell?
No, Elijah Moore.
Oh, Elijah Moore.
He was
right.
injured.
Yeah.
He was supposed to come back for the last 2 days, and I was like, pick him up.
Yep.
But he's positive now. And then last person on this list, also doesn't matter. Andy Dalton's positive. I'm just mentioning this name because he could make Justin Fields positive at game time. So that would be crazy.
That'd be good.
Who
Third
do they
string?
start?
Who's
Free
their
win.
third string?
I don't know.
Nick Foles?
That's their third string right now?
I want to say.
it is.
God, they got a deep freaking veteran bench there.
They do. But yeah, anyways, that's the COVID list that's pertinent at the moment. I'm sure it'll be a whole new world. Shout out to Disney Channel by Sunday. So, okay, that's enough of the COVID stuff. You guys have any questions or anything about the COVID stuff?
No, I mean, it's going to be tough to kind of just high level gauge who's vaccinated, who's not, so what the timeline for each player is going to be.
Yeah.
But play it safe at this point, right? This is Friday. These are the playoffs. Playoffs are on Sunday, right? So there's games going to be on Tuesday, but you're not going to have a lot of flexibility for Tuesday if you have guys that are on the fence. So in the playoffs, I mean, yeah, you got to be the ones, but at the same time, you have to try to be smart. So
if you have like two players that are averaging around the same amount of points, one plays on Sunday, one's playing on Tuesday, start that Sunday guy.
Yeah.
You know, even if he scores the Tuesday guy scores a bunch of points, don't beat yourself up because that was a smart move.
Yeah. So this whole season I've been having Madison as my handcuff to Dalvin Cook. Madison has COVID. He's unvaccinated, out for 10 days.
Yeah.
I dropped him. Because I have
100%.
Williams also who has COVID. He's out.
Right.
He's gonna get my IR designation. And I picked up AJ Green because Hopkins is out. So it's
Yeah.
like things like this, that moves that I've had to make because of COVID.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
gotta do what you gotta do.
Yep. Okay, so that's enough COVID for one day. So Aaron Jones is cleared for Week 15. I think both running backs are startable at this point because they like using the hell out of their running backs.
Yeah.
He did not practice yesterday, but he's cleared as of today, which is weird, but that's what's happening. Saquon's back at practice this morning. Bengals Burrow is good to go. He got the clear to start, so I know there's a lot of people worried about that stuff. He's not on the final injury report. Josh Allen's a full go. He was limited all week long, but today he went full. And then Fournette is also going full, or he went full.
Everyone's a full send.
Yep, full send, complete send. Damian Harris is out with a hamstring, so Ramondre Stevenson season.
All right.
Stevenson season.
Let's do it.
Lead me to victory.
And then Kingsbury expects both Connor and Edmonds to play versus the Lions. So this is another one of those situations where you could probably play both, and then they'd probably both do fine. Miles Sanders and Jordan Howard will also both play. Every single Eagle is full practice. So Eagles have no injuries as of this moment. DJ Moore is questionable. I don't know. Like we've been talking about DJ Moore all season long.
Yeah.
At least the early end of the season, like I want to trade for this guy, I want to trade for this guy, and then Cam Newton comes in and just ruins the whole offense. So I don't know if he's startable.
Just a heads up. I just pulled up the Instagram live, and because it's this way, mine shows it like sideways. Is that what your show shows?
Well, I mean, they can just turn the phone sideways,
Yeah. Okay.
right?
Yeah.
I get.
You know,
Should I
little
move
hole.
it?
Just move it sideways. No, I think it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. You think it's good? Okay.
Yeah, because all they have to do is just.
If it's
Yeah.
not good,
But unless they're
they'll let
watching it
us
on like
know.
a computer, right? Okay.
Is there anybody on there?
Who's?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's one person joined.
Yeah. Was that one person?
Who's that?
Sandana? Oh yeah. We got some friends all the way from Colorado.
Let's
Nice.
go.
That's pretty
Oh
dope.
yeah.
But yeah, I forgot where I was. Oh, DJ Moore, questionable. If you have other players to start them. Just don't fall under the name thing here. We got 3 weeks of football left. You got to be smart. Terry McLaurin's questionable as well. I don't think he's gonna play. Looking like it was just he was practicing with non-contact stuff all week long. It's really, really doubtful to imagine that he would just be like ready to go for everything.
Yeah.
Even if he plays, he's gonna be limited. So stay away from that one. And then Thielen is doubtful. He hasn't been designated out. So it's really messing with my roster spot editing right now. I just need him to be out so we can just be forgetting about this. But he's doubtful. Daniel Jones is ruled out with that neck injury. So, and then they have to play the Cowboys. So Glennon's going to be throwing against the Cowboys. Good luck with that one. Elijah Mitchell, per ESPN, they were kind of confident as of this morning that he's going to play. But he's not going to play. So don't just wait until the next update. Don't put him in your lineup. He's not going to play.
I actually got an update when I was leaving work that he's out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's out.
Okay, as of this morning,
Yeah.
he wasn't going to play. Okay, Lamar Jackson, questionable, didn't practice for 3 days in a row. It's against the Packers. They don't want to put a hobbled Lamar against the Packers. They want somebody that can do it all. So I have very, 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 very doubtful that Lamar Jackson is probably going to play this game. So I don't think that's going to happen at all. Javonte Williams at practice, but he's questionable. But I also got a notification that there are no limitations on him for this upcoming game. And then Melvin Gordon is also questionable, but he's been playing through questionable designation all season long. James Robinson, no injury designation today. And Carlos Hyde is out.
Yeah.
And the guy ruining his season is out.
Urban Meyer.
Let's
Urban
go.
Myers. So James Robinson should be going off.
He's been freed.
Yeah, completely freed. Thank you. Zach Ertz has a hamstring injury, and he's questionable. So on this, if you're listening, I don't know if you knew that one. You might want to put Pitts back up on the starting lineup. Marquise Brown is limited. That's important just because you got to play the Packers, and you got to throw the ball. So I don't know what's going to happen there. We got 3 more people to talk about, and then we're done with this crap. Tony Pollard is questionable, and there's no Tyron Smith this week. He's actually ruled out. So that's their only hope against the Giants. Like that's the Giants' one bright point is that they might not be running the ball as well as they have been. MVS has a back injury as of this morning. He's questionable against the Ravens. So Lazard pickup looking more and more clear. And then Emmanuel Sanders is doubtful. Doesn't matter. They're using Davis now as the third guy. Anyways, so that is the injury report as of today. Stay tuned on our Twitter page for the more recent updates all the way up until game time on Saturday.
Yep, at Only Playbook. Again, at Only Playbook on Twitter. Yeah, up to the minute stats, updates. Turn on your notifications because there's going to be COVID happening tonight, tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, and tomorrow evening. I can almost guarantee it. So there was a game last night.
Yep.
We had to record the game, turn off all of our shit, and go watch Spider-Man. We watched the premiere of Spider-Man, and then I went home. You went home.
Yeah.
You went home. I watched the game. I watched the whole game. You watched the whole game?
Yeah.
Did you watch the game?
Yeah.
And
but it's nice when you can
amazing.
fast forward through commercials.
Yeah,
I watched it in like an hour and
Yep.
15 minutes.
Yep. I mean, I even like fast forwarded some of the in between stuff, and like so I got through in like 45 minutes. It was insane. But holy shit, I'm so glad we recorded it and not like watch just highlights or anything later because what a fucking game.
That was crazy.
What a game.
Travis
the Chiefs.
Kelce, man, just killed it at the end.
Yeah,
A touchdown
yeah.
to take it overtime and the touchdown to seal it. And
Yeah.
like in classic Kelce fashion.
Classic just weaving and maneuvering.
Slippery.
Yeah, the Chiefs, I mean, they were in L.A. taking on the Chargers here. Big game. Chiefs came in at 9-4. Chargers were 8-5. Chiefs win this one 34-28 final. It goes into overtime. Chiefs were favored by 3, so they cover that spread in overtime. And the over hits. I think you mentioned the over again, and that hits again. So big high-scoring game. A lot of the action came late in the game.
Yeah.
And the Chargers felt like they were controlling most of this game.
Yeah, right.
Like the Chargers had plenty of chances to extend leads,
Yeah.
extend drives, come back and win. And every time they had a pivotal moment, like I felt like
they
they
went
didn't come
for it
through.
on fourth down 4 times, and they succeeded 1 out of those 4 times. And some of those times were easy field goal times, and
Yep.
I feel like that's why this game even went to overtime in the first place. But post-game interview, he was like, I'm doing this 10 out of 10 times. He's like, I'd rather, get 2 points on the board multiple times, and that could add up to a touchdown versus just these extra points that sometimes may not even go in, right?
Yeah.
So they were like, I'm going to follow the analytics, and we're going to go for it as much as we can. So,
I am not a fan of that.
Yeah.
There were times on fourth down that they went for in the red zone.
Yeah.
And the first time it was the first possession of the drive. Kind of makes sense. Okay, it scores 0-0. Fine. You go for it to get the 6 points. But the second time came in the end of the second quarter where there's like 3 seconds remaining.
Mhm.
Just get the points. The Chiefs get the ball back. You don't even get the ball back. So it's not like you can make that drive again. So I'm thinking like these analytics go based off of past performances and like how much stats do we really have of like teams going for a fourth down. I think this year is really going to solidify whether or not like this is actually a good model or not.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just going to say it's just all situational stuff for me. Like the word analytics doesn't mean anything to me, right? It's what's most likely to happen and what are the consequences of you doing this. So for me, as somebody that trusts in defense, I'm a very defensive-minded person. Like, I trust to get these points, these quick points that I can just have.
Right.
And then trust my defense to not let the other team score points.
Right.
Like, that's how I view it. So I take the points almost every time. Unless I'm down and, like, you know, like, things are looking a little rough and there's not much time left and whatnot, then I'll go for it. But I'm not a big proponent of just going for it all the time.
It's funny that you bring that up because on the first drive, they were at the 99-yard line. The Chiefs were after the turnover downs from the Chargers, and they went for it and got the touchdown.
Right.
So, like, Chargers defense, we know their defense is not good, and, like, the fact that they went for it, they don't have a solid defense. They don't get the points. That kind of is, like, the reason of why I think they lost the game, because they just didn't capitalize on the scoring opportunities there.
Yeah, I think analytics, the thing with analytics is it takes the human element out of it, takes the emotions out of it. It takes, like, recognizing the way the game is going from, like, momentum, game flow, right? You're just going based off of this stat tells you that from this percentage you have you have more chances of scoring.
Right.
That ultimately leads you to a better outcome, right? So it's literally straight numbers driven. There's, again, no aspect of like, we currently don't have momentum, guys, or we're currently riding a little bit of momentum, you know, let's take the points. There's none of that, right? It's just yes or no based on these numbers. And so I think that's the biggest thing is it takes the emotion out of it. And a lot of times you need that. Like, you need to understand where your team is at, what time in the game it is, like how much momentum they're building. They're not getting the ball.
Think about it like this, right? Let's say a running back who's been all game long, he's been running down the right side and he sees that the defensive end is a little slow on the step, right? And he can voice that to his quarterback and be like, hey, it's 4th and 1. This defensive end is like coming off the end really slow. I can easily get this 1 yard. You don't have that with analytics, right? If you're just going by the number-driven numbers and you're like, you don't consider those things, those little intangibles, that the human aspect. So, it's good and it's bad. At the end of the day, you're gonna get shit on if it doesn't work, and you're gonna get praised if it works.
It's like anything else. Like you can bring it in and adapt it in a way that like you get the best of both, right? Like there's certain times where analytics makes sense, and there's certain times where the coach, as the leader, needs to be like, you know what, fuck analytics here. Like let's do what I think is right. But being like 100% analytics, like the Chargers seem to be doing, versus being like 100% anti-analytics, like Mike Zimmer or something, like that's too far and like too much of any end of the spectrum in any aspect of the world and anything right now has led us to believe that that's not the right way to go.
No.
I mean, for me, it's like 4th and 1, 50-yard line, you go for it.
Yeah.
4th and 1 at the red zone,
20-yard line.
20, like, you know, those you have to kind of pick your battles, and you got to take the points at that point.
It's tough. I don't know why. I think 1 yard line, if you're a big offense, and you're probably going to try to go for that. But like 4th and 2, 4th and 3, right? It says low battery. 4th and 3 and stuff like that. That's going to be an issue. Like, where's the line for the Chargers is kind of what I'm wondering with Brandon Staley. Like, it was 4th and 2 twice, like inside the 5, and they went for it. Both times didn't get it.
And they tried to pass it.
Yeah, both times tried to pass it. Both times didn't get it, right? So if it was 4th and 3, would they still go for it? 4, would they still go for it? So that's what I'm trying to understand. And like, where does the analytics stop? And it's like, okay, this is too far. Let's take the points. But
the Geeks lost yesterday.
Yeah, the Geeks lost. The Nerds, you lost. But I mean, dude, nonetheless, exciting game.
Yeah,
Kelsey, Hill, fantasy owners. You had both of them in multiple leagues.
I've been waiting for this moment.
Rejoice.
Dude, I rejoice so hard.
Yeah.
I rejoice harder than I've rejoiced all week long. On a Thursday, like, it's just, and I'm playing against like the highest scoring guy in our league, and he has like the best defensive players, the IDP league, right? So I was predicted to lose by a lot, and then as a 6 seed, just crawling my way up, and Kelsey and Hill coming through, like I couldn't. But he has Jonathan Taylor, so I have to kind of like temper my expectations a little bit.
Yeah, man. For me, it's like seeing Hill like come across the middle of the field and catch it and just like outrun every single defender. Like it's a cheat code.
Dude,
it's just not fair.
Quick, bro.
There was like a 1 yard catch. He like found a way to get 9 yards.
Exactly.
I was like, what?
The thing, okay, so like I only played football through like 8th grade, but like one thing I always took away when you're playing defense is like they always tell you to like attack the defender, right? Never wait, because they're always in like go mode and you're waiting. That's the thing with Tyreek Hill. He makes every defender have to wait because one false move, even an increment the wrong way, and he's literally gone. Like he's so scary. But yeah, I mean that's the Tyreek Hill weapon, and they used it to perfection. There wasn't a ton of deep throws yesterday. Mahomes was basically taking the dink and dunks.
He was.
But Hill and Kelsey were literally just feasting. Absolutely feasting. So, exciting game. Chiefs take care of business. Chiefs have to play the Steelers next week. Tough test for Pittsburgh, and the Chargers do get a bounce-back action opportunity at Houston to take on the Texans. So, that was Thursday night. We talked about it earlier. This week already had set up Saturday games. It was the first weekend where we were going to have Saturday games. Yeah, Adisu was talking about how the Nerds did lose yesterday. So,
there's a big difference between nerds and geeks, by the way. I don't know if people know this.
Yeah.
But nerds are actually intelligent, right? You don't have to be
They're
intelligent.
also candy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Which I'm not having any more of. But nerds. There's a sense of intelligence with nerds.
Yeah.
But if you're a geek, you don't really have to be smart. Like you could be a Star Wars geek.
Yeah.
That's the proper term. It's not Star Wars nerd.
Yeah.
Just thought I'd throw that out there.
It's good to know.
But geeks can also be smart.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But there's a predisposition to be smart if you're a nerd.
Ah, that's fair. Daily facts.
Anyways.
So we just talked about it. This was the first weekend where they already had pre-slated Saturday games. You talked about it earlier, Show, because of COVID, teams getting decimated. We have one game left on Saturday when initially we had 3, I believe.
Yeah.
And so only one game left on Saturday. 2? Was it 2?
Yeah.
Okay. One game left on Saturday now. The Saturday game is actually going to be the Patriots. They're traveling to Indianapolis to take on the Colts. Big matchup here for the Colts. Are 7-6 at home. They are favored by 2.5.
That's insane.
I couldn't believe that.
There's a lot of lines this week that before, I haven't assessed the COVID situation to the T yet.
Sure.
So I think that's playing a lot into a lot of these lines because I think you'll see it as a trend when we go through these games. A lot of these lines don't make sense. Vegas knows something 100%. But somehow the Colts are favored at home by 2.5, over under 45.5. Patriots are the number 1 seed in the AFC right now. Mm-hmm. And the Colts are 7-6. They're 6th seed in the playoff standings. So what are you guys seeing here? Because the Colts are really good at the one thing the Patriots are really good at the one thing that the Colts do best, and that's run the ball, and that's Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, they're very similar teams. They both have, Patriots have a much stronger defense, and they have the Bill Belichick factor. But the Colts, Carson Wentz is better than Matt Jones.
Yeah.
He's better. He can do a lot more. Mac Jones is, we make fun of these kind of quarterbacks all the time because they're system quarterbacks, but Mac Jones is fitting into that system perfectly, whereas Carson Wentz doesn't mind making those mistakes that are not held back because he's not a system quarterback per se. He's allowed to make mistakes, and that's why he throws those stupid interceptions in the goal line. Mm-hmm. That's why he does all this weird stuff. But that's also why he finds ways to make plays. You don't really see Mac Jones making plays. Yep. He just makes the smart throw all the time.
Yep.
Versus Carson Wentz has that factor. So if they're not running the ball well, you can always rely on Carson Wentz to make those type of plays. And here's another fun fact about Wentz. He's 8-1. In his career as a starter versus rookie quarterbacks. So I don't know what that means. It doesn't mean too much, but 8-1 is a pretty significant number, and I don't think you can really overlook that.
Yeah. So I'm sure Belichick is looking at this and saying, I've got to stop the run.
Yeah.
And Carson Wentz has to prove to me that he can actually win this team. And that's why I look at this line and I'm like, I don't think Carson Wentz could do that. I think that the Patriots have a good defense, a rush defense, and a pass defense. However, the one thing that's not really going for them in their rush defense, the last 3 games, they have allowed 136 yards. So if Jonathan Taylor can break out and have a great game, I see that's the recipe for the Colts to win. If not, then I'm going to say Patriots win this game.
Yeah. No, I just don't see how the Colts can deviate away from what's working. Mm-hmm. So Jonathan Taylor, he accounts for 35.2% of the Colts scrimmage yards, right? That's the highest among any team. Nobody has more than 30%. He's at 35.2% of the team's yards. So he's going to be a big factor, whether it's through the air or it's through the ground. And, people trust the Colts to run the ball, right? If there's one team that has run the ball perfectly all year, it's the Colts. So I still think they're going to try to play bully ball here and still enforce the run game, and we're going to see what Bill Belichick can do. And if they find ways to adjust to that, I think Carson Wentz can make those throws. It's a little weird, but it's probably one of the weirdest takes of the week. But I'm taking the Colts to win this game.
Yeah, the factor is going to be Carson Wentz because again, the Patriots know what the Colts are good at. Jonathan Taylor's having a historic season. Everybody knows what the Colts are good at and what's been working for them. And the Patriots literally run an identical offense, so they probably have a good idea of how to stop it, right? Carson Wentz, you're right in a sense that he's different from Mac Jones because he likes to extend plays. He can do things Mac Jones can't. We've talked about Carson Wentz a lot of times when you compare him to the Russell Wilsons or the Aaron Rodgers or even Patty Mahomes, any of those guys.
Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, sure. Back in his heyday, extending plays using their legs, but Carson Wentz often fell privy to the bad things, more bad. He was leading the league in fumbles and shit like that. When he's extending, he's getting strip sacked. Yeah. So he has been prone to turning the ball over more, which is the only thing for me against a Patriots defense that likes to feast on turnovers, right?
Sure.
Protect the football if you are able to run effectively like the Patriots defense has been allowing the last 3 weeks teams to do, then yeah, hopefully Wentz's throwing can just be a complement to it. But I see the Patriots literally stacking like 8-9 in the box every play. So it's going to have to be Carson Wentz. The one good thing is they're at home, they're inside, so weather, things like that are not going to be an issue. They're in their element. So let's see. But Vegas does always know some shit, so the line definitely jumps out to us all on paper because it is not what any of us would expect. You would expect the Patriots to be favored.
I almost think that it's an even matchup, and because the Colts are home,
home field's usually
3.
3, right? Yeah. So in a neutral field, they have the Patriots favored by half, essentially. But it's going to be a great game. Again, a day earlier that we get NFL football, right? So hopefully more people understand that and realize that and set their lineups, not thinking that Saturday is the day where you can coast until Sunday morning. That takes us to the games on Sunday. We have games on Sunday, we have games on Monday, and we have games on Tuesday this week. So 4-day span where it's just consecutive football.
Yep.
First game on Sunday, the Panthers are traveling to Buffalo to take on the Bills. Bills have been on a downward trend at 7-6, needing to bounce back. They're still favored by 12 points at home against the Carolina Panthers, who come in at 5-8, over under 44.5. Bills have to get right, guys. Bills need to get right. Carolina's good opportunity. I wouldn't say it's the most ideal opportunity because their defense can still show up at times. But the Bills need to win this.
Yeah, there's only one thing that the Panthers have to do to beat the Bills, and that's stop the aerial attack, right? Because the Bills can't run the ball. So that the one thing that benefits the Panthers here is that the Panthers have allowed the fewest passing yards per game in the NFL this season. They allow, on average, 177 yards a game. Bills can't win the game throwing it for 177 yards.
Yeah.
So I expect the Bills to kind of overpower that stat because we saw some weaknesses from the Panther last week. We hyped them up so much last week, and then they just proved to just kind of like, be mediocre.
Yeah.
And if there's ever a game for the Bills to kind of get back to normal Bills games, it's against a random NFC East opponent or NFC opponent, and kind of just dismantle them while they're down. So Panthers at 5-8, and Bills hungry for a win at 7-6. I'm favoring the Bills here on this one.
Yeah, 100% Bills on this one. The only thing is, if Josh Allen doesn't play and Mitch Trubisky comes in, kind of makes this.
Buffalo, he's gonna play.
Josh Allen is gonna play.
Yeah.
I think last time I saw it was probable, but if he plays, I mean, I don't see any way that the Carolina Panthers even keep up on offense of what the Buffalo Bills can do. I mean, whether it be Cam Newton, PJ Walker, I don't care who's.
They're doing like a weird dual quarterback thing, which it's just like when you have two guys who are really good at something, makes sense. But you have two guys that aren't really good at anything.
Right.
So what I heard last week why they did that was because Cam Newton doesn't have the 2-minute playbook down.
Wow.
So it's a
For
whole
the first time.
Yeah. So
all season.
So all the 2-minute moments, like the end of the first half and the fourth quarter, they brought in PJ Walker for that.
I see.
Somebody finally doesn't know the playbook.
Yeah, we hit that one.
We
finally.
make that. We made that come to fruition. We spoke that into existence.
We did.
Yeah, and I don't think he's even like good enough anymore to make those
exactly.
throws. And whether in playbook or not playbook, Cam Newton, if he's not doing it with his legs, he's not doing it with his arms. So they're gonna have a tough time trying to beat the Bills. This
and
week.
the Bills are coming off of they've lost 4 of their last 6 games.
Yeah.
Right. So they're not very happy. And the Panthers, all they've beaten is one team with a winning record this year. So this isn't a very close matchup for me.
Yeah. Cam's struggling to learn that playbook. He should just come join us and learn the only playbook.
Nice.
The Bills should take care of business. 12 points seems like a lot, but Buffalo needs to be hungry for a win. I say needs because they've played that comeback against the Buccaneers impressed me, right? So it's finally like, holy shit, this team has life because they'd been playing so bad. The games before that, you're almost like, holy shit, what happened to the moxie that this team had? Josh Allen, big fucking fired up guy for the most part, and it seemed like the last 3 or 4 weeks this team had lost their identity and just been demoralized. So even though they lost against the Bucs, it was actually encouraging to see them fight back after they could have just fucking rolled over. So this needs to be a game that they build on that momentum and just win.
Absolutely. Just a matchup to watch out for. The Stephans going against each other.
Yeah.
So we got Gilmore and Diggs. So I don't know what to make of that.
Advantage
One's gonna solidify their role over the other. So.
As the only Stefan, make the other guy change his first name.
Wow. To Steven.
Stephen Diggs. Stephen Gilmore.
Stephen.
Dude, yeah, that's a big matchup because Buffalo does have other weapons, but Diggs is their go-to guy, and Gilmore is a shutdown corner. So Buffalo, if the Panthers want to pull out an upset, it's going to have to start with their defense, and we'll see. Cardinals are the next game on the board. They have it easy this week. They are playing in Detroit. They are just going there. They're going to get a free victory just showing up and going through the motions. It'll be like another practice for them. Detroit's coming in at 1-11-1. Cardinals are favored by 12.5, over under 47.5. I am a firm believer that if you could take a bet that the Lions won't win any more games this season, I would take that bet.
Damn.
They just have no reason to, and they're just not talented enough. So, like, the once hungry need to get one victory under the belt is completely gone.
Yeah.
And at this point, they don't have anything to play for.
No, they just don't have the talent.
Yeah.
I don't see any way they can beat it. And Cardinals, they're the team. They're probably one of the best teams in the NFL. It's going to be very difficult for the Lions to beat them.
Yeah, I mean, I always try to find out ways how the underdog could win.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find one for this one. But the Lions did beat the Vikings, and the Vikings almost beat the Cardinals. So using the transitive property,
there you go.
there is chance.
The biggest thing to get from this game is that Hopkins is out.
Yeah.
So,
but Hopkins doesn't even matter at this point. Do they even need Hopkins?
Right. But I mean, AJ Green. Do
Yeah.
you start AJ Green?
Yeah,
now?
I would if
Right.
I was wondering if I'm starting somebody in my flex.
Yeah.
This is an opportunity to start AJ Green. This is an opportunity to start Edmonds, start Connor, start pretty much everybody. You could probably start Kirk. The only reason not to start receivers, I think
because
you
the
would
game
start
goes
both
out of
running
hand.
backs. Yeah, but if the game goes out of hand, who gets the carries? Is they bench Connor and the Edmonds gets those carries,
I believe
or is it
so.
the third guy gets
Third
the
guy.
carry? Third guy.
Third
gets
guy.
carries.
If the game goes out of hand, like at halftime,
Yeah.
it's like a 21-point deficit.
Yeah.
Third guy.
Third guy.
Third guy. They need to heal up Connor.
Yeah.
This is a team that believes in healing.
Yeah, this is the get right week.
Yeah.
Like let's
No.
play this. They probably wished like all their starters had COVID, so they could just all rest and then they could play their backups and
get
still
all
beat the Lions.
and get all the immunoglobulins ready in your body for the future COVID.
The Green Goblins.
There's still that
Goblins.
bye week that they're trying to get. They're trying to beat the Packers as far as the
Yeah.
number one
Cardinals
seed.
still have something to play for.
They still have something
Yeah.
to play for, so I don't think that they'll be ready to do that. But
Yeah.
they are, resting
Yeah,
Hopkins.
Only to say that they could literally start their entire backup team and still beat the Lions.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely. That could
believe
happen. Because the Lions aren't fully healthy either.
Yeah.
They have no Swift. They have no Jamal Williams this week.
Yeah.
Like
Iwabuke.
Iwabuke. Might not even
Reynolds.
be Iwabuke.
Reynolds is the guy.
Reynolds. Nobody knows. Just stay the hell away from this team.
Yeah. So it should be a pretty lopsided matchup there. I actually think 12.5 is almost like too nice of a spread. I know the Lions have been playing close games, but I'm taking the Cardinals 12.5 here.
Yeah. I think I'd be with you on that one. Yep.
Dolphins at home next game. They're riding high, winners of 4 or 5 in a row, I believe now. At home against the Jets, who come into town at 3-10. The biggest spread I've seen the Dolphins favored by all year, 9.5 points against the Jets. Over under 41. I know the Dolphins are going to be without Jalen Waddle, COVID list, but Gaskin is back.
Yep.
Gaskin is back. Devontae Parker is going to be playing.
Yep.
Okay.
No Waddle.
Yep.
Nope.
So Parker and Gaskin are
That's-
two.
If there's
two
one
people-
game for them to have their best
Right.
game of the season,
Right.
it's this one.
Gesicki, maybe.
I mean,
Gets
he
it going.
should.
He hasn't been in the end zone in a really long
Doesn't
time.
make sense. He's there. Throw him the ball.
Yeah, he makes some weird catches. Do they not watch his highlights?
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, but the Jets allow one of the most rushing yards in the NFL,
Right.
which is another reason for Gaskin. And the Dolphins also blitz the most
Yes.
out of everyone in the NFL. So
Dump offs to Carter. Dump offs to Carter.
Yeah.
That's all I'm envisioning right now.
Yeah.
Blitz, dump off around the side, 60-yard run.
yeah,
Touchdown.
Poor Zach Wilson.
Both leagues. Yeah, poor Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, again, this is a classic matchup where the only thing that is like not relevant is the fact there could come into play is the fact that they're a divisional opponent. So the
Right.
Jets it's always going to be played differently, whether you like to believe it or not. But the Dolphins have something to play for. The Jets don't, right? The Jets are, they're getting a running back, but in the grand scheme of things, there's really no significance there. Their defense continues to be really, really bad. So the Dolphins, who have continued to trend in the right direction, make enough plays, not turn the ball over,
Right.
Tua efficient, not a lot of yards per throw, but enough yards per throw and does the job. So, I mean, if the Dolphins want to stay alive in the wild card, they have to win.
Yeah, and I think they will. This might be a play for a teaser, 6-point teaser.
Yeah.
We're looking at 9.5. Bring it back down to 3.5.
3.5 is a tough spot.
If it was a little bit lower,
You're always
like
when
9.
you're teasing, you're always trying to get under big, like, what are they called? Important numbers,
Right.
key numbers. 7 and 3, 10. So I don't know.
If you could find a 3-team teaser this
Yeah.
week and bring it down 10 points, then this is definitely one.
Get the Dolphins as a pick 'em,
Yeah.
or even a half
You
point.
could do the Dolphins, you could do the Cardinals,
Mhm.
and damn, even the Bills maybe.
There's options. There's options on the board for teasing this week
there's plenty
because
of them.
Vegas is teasing us with these lines that don't make sense.
Right.
Dallas is the next game on the board. They're traveling to New York to take on the Giants. Cowboys come in at 9-4, top that NFC East. Giants at the bottom of the NFC East at 4-9. Cowboys on the road, favored by 10.5 points, over under 44.5. I got to be honest, the Cowboys offense the last couple weeks has not impressed me. Dax looked a little off since he's come back. it's just not flowing the way it was when they were riding high early in the season. Defense has still been there, though. They're still opportunistic. Their line and pass rush is insane. It's actually insane because Randy Gregory is a starting defensive end on pretty much every NFL team. DeMarcus Lawrence could be a starting defensive end on any team, and then they just threw Micah Parsons in there as another edge rushing end. And so now you have 3 guys that are equivalent to like starting defensive ends that play at a high level. Micah Parsons playing like a defensive player of the year. So that pass rush is literally fixing the blemishes in their defense, which was their secondary. And right now, like, I cannot think of a better pass rush in the NFL.
Yeah, it's crazy that like in the beginning of the year, we knew that the Dallas offense was the key to them winning, but now it's sort of transitioned to their defense. And you're right, they're in a slump. Even Jerry Jones is saying that Dak Prescott is in a slump. He has 8 touchdowns and 6 interceptions in the last 6 games. So not very Dak Prescott.
Yeah,
if you
no,
would say.
you're not getting what you signed up for.
Exactly.
Dak, but the Cowboys have allowed 20 points or fewer in each of their last 4 road games.
Mm-hmm.
So
The defense is doing
he's
well.
allowed to play that bad. There's not many teams like mine that can play that bad from the quarterback position and still win games. But there's teams out there like the Cowboys. Even Kyler Murray played pretty trash-like. He lost that game, but there's teams that can stay in the game with these with average to mediocre quarterback play, and the Cowboys are benefactors of being one of those teams. Their defense has really, really stepped up. They're 7-1 against NFC teams this season. And the Giants have lost 8 of their last 9 games against the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the Giants, we don't want to believe in tanking, but they're contenders. They're contenders for getting really good picks.
Yeah.
So all of that being talked about, all that points towards Cowboys winning this handsomely, right?
We talked about analytics in the beginning of the podcast. Giants are one of those teams that like shy away from it the most. So if they're in a 50-yard line, and instead of going for it on 4th and
They'll
2,
punt it.
they're gonna punt it.
Oh,
that's
God.
the kind of
Why?
Joe Judge, and that's his I guess his philosophy.
I mean, at 4 and 9, they should be like, you know what? Let's start taking some chances. But
Yeah.
people just stick true to their guns, I guess.
Yeah.
You never adapt. Cowboys, should win this easily. Again, there's no reason they shouldn't. The only reason why is these teams historically sometimes play weird games. They're in the same division. It's on the road, and the offense hasn't been great. We know the defense can be leaky, so is there a world where maybe the pass rush isn't getting there at the level that they have the last 4 weeks, and it gives the Giants an opportunity? Although, no Daniel Jones probably. It's freaking Mike Glennon. Like, what are we hoping
They're missing
for?
a lot of players
Yeah.
on the offensive side because of COVID. They're one of the teams that have been hit on the more side than the least side. So there's a lot of players, a lot of important players are going to be out this game. There's no Tony, not that he was ever there, but this is just not a good recipe. Like I would not bet the Giants to win this game, ever.
Another 3-team teaser option here. Dallas 10.5.
Yep.
Get them down to a pick 'em. So.
Just gotta have him win.
Yeah, just got to have them win. I'm going to skip the next one on this one because we now have confirmation that it is moved to Tuesday. But the Titans are the next game on the board on Sunday. They are traveling to Pittsburgh to take on your Steelers. Shove it. 6-6-1. The Steelers are here at the Titans come in at 9-4. This game is actually a pick 'em. This might be the first time I typed out pick 'em all year. So I think this is the first pick 'em game. Over under 43. Why is this game a pick 'em? Weird line.
Yeah, it started with Titans favored at 1.5, and then slowly moving to Steelers because at this point it's like do or die. You want to get into the playoffs, the Steelers have to win. We have T.J. Watt that's gonna play, right, and Alex Highsmith that's gonna play on each side of the edge rushers. So if we can find a way to blitz and get to Tannehill and hurry him. There's a key number here. So Tannehill has been sacked the most, 37 times this year, right? And the key number is 16. Okay, when we generate 16 or more pressures, the Steelers are 3-0. When the Titans are pressured 16 or more times, they're 0-3.
Wow. What a great number.
So we need to make sure we pressure Tannehill and then obviously stop the running game, figure out a way to the Titans do like to run the ball up the middle of the field. So if Cam Hayward does Cam Hayward things, we got TJ Watt there. I think the run we can stop this team's run offense for sure.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
But I don't see that happening, unfortunately, because no matter who's the running back for the Titans, the philosophy is the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're going to run 40 times no matter what happens. Like that's just what they'll do. And just looking at, the Steelers have allowed 24.8 points per game. That's the most they've allowed since 1988. Like this is the worst Steelers defense we have seen in our lifetime.
Yep.
So
100%.
that combined with a team that's 9-4, they're doing things right, and they're not shying away from the run, which is the Steelers' weakness. I think this is a big Foreman game. I don't think the Steelers are going to be able to stop them. Honestly, I really don't. And I want to see the Steelers' offense like take some dominating starts because I haven't seen that at all this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're always crawling from behind or keeping things close. When you tie with the Lions, like you lose a lot of faith in the team, right? So like I want to see the Steelers up 14-0 in the first quarter because I haven't seen one of those games this year. And I think that way you can eliminate the run for the Titans, and then you have a higher chance of winning. But if the Titans take the game early and they keep running, like it doesn't matter if it's Foreman, it doesn't matter if it's Hilliard, they're going to be running all over.
Yeah, I'm in the position of I'm not worried about the Steelers' offense this game. I think the offense can definitely score points.
Okay.
We've got the personnel, to score points. We've seen what Ben Roethlisberger has done this year in the second half of the season, not giving the ball away, limiting turnovers, and we have Najee Harris. So I'm not worried about the offense. It's the defense, and you're right. We got to stop the run, and if we can do that, we have a legitimate chance of beating the 9-4 Titans.
Yeah, the 9-4 Titans. Again, the record is a little bit deceiving just because they've been decimated recently in their early season success. Derrick Henry, AJ Brown's been decimated, so it's a little bit different, but. I mean, from what we saw from Pittsburgh last week, I'm really, really praying that they made an enormous adjustment from the run defense because they cannot afford. I don't care if it's fucking 45-year-old like Frank Gore back there. I don't care who's back there. Anybody could have ran through those lanes that Dalvin Cook ran through because those lanes were insane, just absolutely insane. I actually cannot remember a time I've seen that in the NFL. It just did not feel like an NFL game. So. Obviously, you think that was a focal point all week long because that is unacceptable. You're not going to win a game that way.
They've had 10 days, right?
Yeah.
The game was Thursday night. Now this is on Sunday. So we've had time to prep for this run, this rushing attack that Vrabel's put out. But so another reason
What's the line on this game?
Pick 'em.
Oh, nice.
Straight even.
It's just a straight pick 'em. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's interesting. We will see. Next game on the board is the toilet bowl of the season so far. 2-11, 2-11. The Texans are at the Jaguars. The craziest thing about this is the fact that the line has shifted so enormously ever since Urban Meyer got fired that I am starting to wonder if Vegas actually thinks that the Jaguars' offense is decent. It was just Urban Meyer. The Jags, for the first time all year, they're favored by 4.5 points. It has now moved to 5, actually. I checked it on my drive here. The Jags are favored by 5 at home against Houston, over under 39.5. In what world has the Jaguars offense give us any reason to believe that they should be 5-point favorites?
It's the COVID. Texans have like 8 players, I believe, 7 to 8 players. Some of those are starters. Like I mentioned earlier, Jacksonville has none, right? And they're going to free their best player. So I think those are the only reasons why it even changed a little bit. But outside of that, they're similar teams. They both suck.
Yeah.
Right? So just healthy players and releasing Robinson.
I wonder if like having Urban Meyer like not on your team anymore and you're 2-11, like as a team, does that build a camaraderie
for sure.
100%.
that you have to beat another 2-11 team?
100%.
Yeah.
Like maybe that's what it is, and it's like, okay, no Urban Meyer, let's get this win. Let's show them what we really can do, and release James Robinson and run the ball against the Texans. But it's not like the Texans can't score either. I mean, they've been fair.
Yeah, I mean, we just talked last week about how Davis Mills has been more impressive than Trevor Lawrence, and now they get to face each other again. I just 5 points is a lot of points to give the Jaguars, who are so god awful.
Yeah.
They're just so god awful.
Yeah.
So I have no idea. I don't really know what to expect, but I would take the points with the Texans, just knowing that these two teams are relatively even, and I still think the Texans are a little bit better. The Jags get the home field advantage. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I think the whole Urban Meyer firing, it's almost like a big burdens lift off your shoulder. When you hear about all these stories from Urban Meyer,
crazy.
You just scratch your head. I mean, he fucking kicked his kicker.
Yeah.
He came over and kicked his kicker, and then he said some shit about his one of his assistant coaches. Like
Called him a loser.
It doesn't make sense how this guy is a leader, right? A leader. Like I don't know what is that a lead by fear?
It's a leader of the 1980s. It's like the old school leader mentality. Like that's like the old patriarchy is going to take over the world mentality.
Yeah, and like you can get away with that in college still probably because you're coaching kids, right?
You should never be able to get away with kicking a person.
Yes,
on your team.
that never
Especially
getting
a kicker. Like.
Yeah, you're kicking the kicker. I don't understand that. But like
Yeah.
you can be authoritatively dominant if that's like your thing, even though I don't agree with that in college because they're a bunch of kids. They're literally fighting for their livelihood, right? So they're gonna oblige. If you're in the NFL, you're talking to grown ass adults that are making millions of dollars that literally could just be like, "Fuck you," I demand a trade. I'm not playing for you. Like, so you cannot treat people that way. Like, and like, what did he think? The kicker wasn't gonna come out and say that he did that? Like, it just doesn't make sense. He must not have been right in the head. He was grinding on some random chick already. Like he's been in the headlines too many times negatively this year for me to believe that his head was ever even in coaching football. So like, I don't know. That could very well, we could come out and see Trevor Lawrence all of a sudden put up 38 fucking points.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't even know what he did on that team.
Yeah.
I have no idea
Probably
what
what he didn't
like
do.
Nobody
what
liked
his role
him.
was.
Yeah.
Nobody liked
yeah,
him.
no
Like,
one.
like we've been hearing from like week 4 that there's like some things going on in the locker room,
Right.
and then you hear like one news after another after another. Nobody likes him, and remove the cancer from the room. Like you're gonna have a better day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smart move on the
Jaguars.
the owners
Yeah,
and
I love it. I respect it. A lot of people 13 games into the season would be like, let's wait till the end of the year.
No.
This is a lost year anyways. But no, this dude needed to get the fuck out of here, and I'm glad they got rid of him. So happy to see that. Will be interesting to see. Would be pleasantly surprised and happy for the Jaguars if they somehow do come out and play a lot better. But I don't know what to expect this game. It's kind of a coin toss. The next game on the board, the Broncos are 7-6. They're at home again. They're hosting the Cincinnati Bengals, also who come in at 7-6. Big game here in the AFC for some playoff seeding. Denver is favored at home. They're getting the home field advantage favorite by just 3 points. Over under 44. This is a big game for both teams.
I don't know if the Broncos can play we forget how good of an offense Cincinnati has just because they're Cincinnati, right? But this offense is fully capable of keeping up with any offense.
Mm-hmm.
Like they can totally do it. So the Broncos have allowed fewer than 17 points in each of their 7 wins. Can they do that to the Bengals? I don't think so.
I don't either.
I don't think so. Like they have a pretty good defense, but Joe Burrow's healthy. Like they've had 13, 14 weeks of practice for moments like this playing against good defenses. I just don't think, and the Broncos are 0-3 versus AFC North this season. Like they're literally the worst in their own division. They can't beat people in their own division. So I don't know. I've not been a fan of the Bengals all season long. But I think their offense kind of just overpowers the Broncos offense, and I don't think the Broncos offense have an answer for the Bengals this game.
Yeah, I have them as the better team here for sure. I think that the Bengals can beat the Broncos. They need to start scoring more on first and second quarters and not kind of letting the game kind of go out of hand like they did with the last game. I don't think they had any points in the first 2 quarters. So establish that offense, get Burrow going, and then their defense isn't bad either on rush defense, right? The Bengals run defense is not terrible as far as yards allowed per attempt. I think they're at like the top 8 or top 10 in the NFL. So and that's the kind of the recipe for the Broncos to try to win the game. So they've got a pretty even matchup there. So I think I'm going to favor the Bengals.
Yeah, I mean I'm favoring the Bengals too, but we can't just dismiss the Broncos defense. Broncos defense is ranked 7th overall in the league, and they're playmakers on that defense. They lost Von Miller, but they're still playing really well. They're just doing just enough to win these 7 games because their offense can't really keep up with the defense, honestly.
Right.
So I think we're going to see a game where the Bengals put up points, and the Broncos are going to do their best on defense, but it might not be enough, and then they're going to have to find ways to Teddy to score points, and I'm not sure if that happens.
Yeah, I actually am on the reverse side of that. I think Denver at home, their defense has been great. And the Bengals line over the last couple of weeks has not given Burrow a lot of protection, right? He's getting hit a ton again. It's like kind of back to last year. It's not quite that bad, but it is slowly getting there. Mm-hmm. And so my fear is, as great as this offense has been, the Bengals defense obviously has weaknesses. The Broncos, at least to me, have a recipe that's worked consistently. The Bengals, you're relying a lot of on their offense at times, and then when Burrow's struggling, he's throwing interceptions, he's getting sacked. The offense isn't also consistently playing. Like we had Jamar Chase, have great games, and then to kind of disappear. And then this emergence of T. Higgins. Joe Mixon has been consistent all year, but then recently they haven't run the ball as effectively because of the offensive line again. And so there's a lot of things for the Bengals where they're, to me, almost on like a downward trend. They had a lot of momentum early in the season, and now all these close games are going not against them. And then like they're starting to rack up, or against them, sorry, and they're starting to rack up injuries again on the offensive line. And so Denver's defense, and they're running, and they're at home. I just, like you said, we need to put more respect on Denver's defense. Their defense actually scares me right now because, yes, Joe Burrow's great, but he's also young still, right? He also makes a lot of mistakes, and I just think this is an opportunity where Denver can take advantage of that and then just protect the football and run. You have Teddy, who loves protecting the football, and so as long as they protect the football and then they use their 2 guys to run, they just control the clock and play good football. I don't know. I actually think Denver has a good chance here.
So my reasoning for the Bengals is the rest of the season, they play teams with a winning record, and out of those teams, I feel like this is the one that they can win out of all those teams. And I don't think they're going to lose the rest of the games either.
Right.
So I had to pick one that for them to go down, and I think this is their best option to win.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, they played against the Chiefs a couple of weeks ago, lost 22-9. So I mean, yes, this offense is good, or defense is good, but are they good enough to stop the firepower for the Bengals? I don't think they are.
But that's the thing with their defense is they might not allow the firepower to happen because their defense is that good, right? Like they're 7th, and the reason they even have 7 wins is purely because of defense. Like all they do is run the ball, right? So, yeah, we'll see. I just expect in this world that I'm imagining that the Bengals will put up like 24 points, and then the Broncos are going to fall short meeting that number. But yeah, it's up for grabs. That's why there's 2 7-6 teams going at it.
Yeah, 2 7-6 teams, and the line is literally just home field advantage. So should be one of the better matchups on the board. The 49ers have been red hot this week. They are hosting the Atlanta Falcons, who come into town at 6-7. The Falcons are still alive in the playoff race, right? They are 6-7, so they're still one of the in the hunt teams. 49ers have come out hot and furious recently, racking up some wins. And now they are, 6th in the playoff seed. They are favored to 9.5 points at home, over under 46.5. We talked about it in the injury segment. Elijah Mitchell is out, so it is going to be probably a Jeff Wilson. Why do I keep saying Justin Wilson?
Is there a Justin Wilson?
Justin Wilson's a pitcher in the MLB.
I see.
And so this is an interesting one. Atlanta has been notorious for beating bad teams this year. That's where all their 6 wins have come from. Yeah. Can they finally beat a team of relevance and actually be like, whoa, this team can sneak into the playoffs?
No.
Okay. I didn't think so.
No, they're not. I love you, Atlanta. And but you're right. We have found out, like, you're not hiding from us. We know that you played against really, really bad teams to win those 6 games. So, but they have been running the ball pretty well. So if they can do what the 49ers do and, equalize that aspect of the game, there's a chance.
Yeah.
There's a chance. I'm not saying, like, it's still 7-6 going against 6-7, right? At the end of the day, they found ways to win the game. But Matt Ryan's not doing it. Like, he's got fewer than 2 touchdown passes in 5 straight games. The 49ers are just running on just, like, fumes. They're just not fumes, on all cylinders. Like, they're just killing it out there. They're playing their brand of football like the best I've ever seen them play. Like they're using their star wide receiver as a running back. Kittle's reached his final form. Ayuk is still getting game-winning touchdowns. Their defense is getting better. They just got their star Fred Warner back from injury. Like they're just getting better. And now they're playing the Falcons, who, if they don't even know who they are. Like the Falcons have no idea. They just think they're all Cordell Patterson. So, again, is this a divisional matchup? No, right?
No, but there's wild card implications.
But there's wild card implications.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a huge game for both teams if they both need to win to continue their playoff hopes. But yeah, 49ers should get this game. I mean, the Atlanta Falcons defense, what is that? Like 28th in the NFL, one of the worst defenses. And we've seen ways the 49ers have been able to put points on the board. Like you mentioned, Kittle last 3 weeks has been amazing on my fantasy team.
Insane.
And so and with Debo's back.
Yep.
Ayuk doing great things. So yeah, it's going to be very difficult for the Falcons to stop that.
Yeah, just matching up personnel to personnel, the 49ers are just better top to bottom. And so I think they should win this game at home. The only X factor always for the Falcons is the one guy they rely so much on, Cordell Patterson.
And Gage, he's kind of
come up. Yeah.
So here's a little interesting stat. Per PFF, there are 10 cornerbacks with 100+ coverage snaps. So they've snapped the ball while they're on the field over 100 times, that are allowing 120 or more passer rating when targeted. 2 out of those 10 players play for the 49ers.
Wow.
So 49ers are bad when it comes to allowing catches for the receivers.
Mm-hmm.
So they need to figure that one out because Russell Gage is kind of on the come up, and Cordell Patterson can easily just do a wheel route and become a wide receiver out of nowhere. So, yeah, that's the aspect of the 49ers game that's weak because linebackers, defensive line, they're top-notch in every aspect. But PFF, take it how you want it. PFF's not always right. PFF's not always wrong, but this is a concrete stat that means something. So, they're going to have to find ways to attack the secondary to win the game if you're the Falcons.
Yeah, 49ers need to win this game to stay in the wild card standings currently, and the Falcons are trying to get into the wild card standings at 6 and 7. So 2 teams with a lot to play for. The Rams are the next game on the board, hosting a divisional matchup at 9 and 4. The Seahawks come into town at 5 and 8. The Rams at home are favored by 4. Over under 45.5. This game has now actually been slated and moved to Tuesday.
Yeah.
So we can talk about it now or talk about it at the end. Let's talk about it now.
Yeah, that's fine. We can do it now.
Yeah, talk about it now. So this game is now going to be played on Tuesday. This is one of 2 games that has been moved to Tuesday. But the line is at 4. I expect between now and Tuesday that line could drastically change. There could be a lot more COVID things coming up, or guys could come back.
Everything can happen. Anything can happen. Just some things that, from historical standpoint, the Rams have won 4 of their last 5 games against the Seahawks. DK Metcalf is having the worst streak of his career, 6 straight games under 60 receiving yards. And Russell Wilson's 12 career losses versus the Rams are 4 more than any other team. So these are some nice little facts that may change your outlook on how the game could go.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a difficult matchup for the Seahawks, but what we mentioned at the earlier in the podcast, we said that there's a lot of injuries. Jalen Ramsey may not be there, and we really I don't see the Seahawks as a bad team anymore. Like ever since Russell Wilson has come back, minus like the first 2 games, they've been like doing really well on offense.
Yeah,
like,
they scored 30
Tyler
points
Lockett,
in backto-back games.
Right, and then the Rashad Penny had a solid game last week, so I feel like they've kind of figured things out on offense. And so the Rams, I'm actually going to say that they will lose this game.
The Rams are going to lose this game?
Right.
All right. Tyler Lockett is not playing. Penny did that against the Texans.
Okay.
Right? DK Metcalf, even though he does get the volume, let's say, he hasn't really shown anything to see that anything might change, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is strictly off of hope. And the Seahawks still have one of the worst offensive lines in football. That has not changed. And their defense is probably the worst in like many categories. They're 32nd in defense. They are the worst defense in the football.
Yeah. But I'm interested to know like what that defense has been like in the past 4 days, right? Like
4 weeks.
4 weeks, I mean, because since they've been winning the games, the defense has kind of stepped up and been able to beat teams. So I feel like, Rams, they're a hit or miss team. Like 1 week they'll show up, next week they won't. They're 8-0 or what is it? 7-0 against like teams that don't have a winning record, and like I think now 2 and 5, 2 and 4.
Yeah.
So we still haven't seen the Rams be consistent and say they're that team that are difficult to beat. So Seahawks have a legitimate chance to beat the Rams.
Yeah, and don't the Rams have a lot of COVID?
Yeah, but it's Tuesday now. Like half of that's probably going to change by Tuesday. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's just I'm done with the Seahawks. Like I put them in the coffin like as soon as Russell Wilson got out, and then Russell Wilson came back, and they were still pretty shitty the last 2 games. Sure, they're doing well, but one of them was the Texans, and like the sample size is just too minuscule to even like make it a serious conversation for me. At least I think of it that way. And the Rams just came off a bye week, and they have to do what they have to do because they played like shit before the bye week. They lost 3 games in a row. I think they kind of figured it out. And even without some of these names, I still think they're a better team than the Seahawks. Like, and this is coming from somebody that owns Russell Wilson. Like I had a lot of faith in Russell Wilson, but the team is just not good enough. Like their team just not going to do it. But I'm excited to see what happens. This is a divisional matchup. This one is actually a divisional matchup, and we've mentioned that before. Anything can happen in divisional matchups.
Yeah, the X factor is always Russell Wilson. He's been the Seahawks' entire team for like the last 4 years. So if the finger is not an issue, then yeah, this I don't care that they're 5 and 8. This team is a completely different team. But if the finger is still an issue, then yeah, he's the entire team because the rest of the team's really bad. Which means that if the best player on the team is still having issues doing the one thing that he's really good at, that's going to be a problem. Especially if there's no Lockett, it's going to kind of be like I could see some force feeding to Metcalf that could lead to like tip balls, interceptions, shit like that. So it's not ideal, but let's wait to see what happens till Tuesday when the game actually kicks off in terms of COVID, who's back, who's out. Yeah. Jalen Ramsey being out, that would be big. That would be a really big thing.
Although the best game DK Metcalf's had this year was against Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah. Weird. Football. The next game on the board, the Packers are at Baltimore this week against the Ravens. Ravens are 8-5. Lamar Jackson might not play, so we may get his doppelganger again.
I love that guy.
Packers
that guy's
at 10
so fun to I wish
Tyler Huntley.
He's so good. I want him as a backup, just for funsies, like a toy.
Yeah. I remember last week I was like, "Is Tyler Huntley? People would be giving him a shot. He's still young enough
as a starter. No, but as a backup, yes.
But we haven't even seen enough from him. Why are we already dismissing the fact that if he just plays enough games, he could be a decent starter?
Yeah, you can always do that. That's always a possibility.
But it's just they're like already ruling him out. Is he that bad? He's pretty young, right?
Did he play for a different team before this?
I'm not sure. I don't know how old he is.
I feel like I've heard Huntley for quite some time.
Something happened there? Oh, it ended.
It does that?
Oh,
there's a time frame
after some certain time. It
an hour, 1 hour.
Oh wow,
1 hour mark.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know where Tyler Huntley played. But he looked good. The good thing for Tyler Huntley and the Ravens is that in the last 3 games, the Packers have allowed 30.7 points per game. Yeah, so there's some things that need to be fixed on that defense. Mm-hmm. And you know what? That could just mean that this is the team that they fix it with. They fix it with the Baltimore Ravens, who are not scoring as many points either. They need to get things figured out on that offense. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. I'm going to lean towards the Packers, but just because,
they're favored by 6.5. Over under is 43.5. Yeah. Funny thing about Tyler Huntley, he was an undrafted quarterback last year, so he's literally 23 years old. Okay. And when you type in Tyler Huntley on Google, guess what? Literally the first article from CBS Sports talks about as him being a possible quarterback for next year.
For who?
Yes.
Minnesota Vikings?
Nope.
Is it the Steelers?
Yes, sir. So let's not dismiss Tyler Huntley, the future, so quickly here, guys. He's it's weird because he's an undrafted rookie quarterback and he's already the first backup to Lamar Jackson. Make that make sense. You have John Harbaugh. So clearly there's something here, right? We got Kellen Mond in the 3rd round. He's not even activated from the practice squad any week. So there's clearly something here. So I'm interested. I'm definitely interested. He has weird mannerisms that are literally just like Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I want more of a passer. I want more of a passer first guy. But let's see if he can make these throws. I'm excited because
he had some decent throws to Mark Andrews down the stretch, to Bateman.
For sure.
Yeah, give him sample size before we write him off as a backup.
Yeah, or give him sample size before we give him too much credit. I want to. There's both.
Yeah.
Both ends
100%.
here.
I'm just saying, let's give him a shot.
Yeah.
Give the guy a shot. So 6.5 points for Green Bay. It's going to be tough. Again, he's a backup quarterback. He's playing at home, though, but it is against Aaron Rodgers. Packers are decimated, though, still with injuries. They've literally haven't played a game this year with David Bakhtiari, who's the second best left tackle in the league. Jair Alexander's been out 9 games this year, who's their best cornerback and top 3 in the league. So it's kind of crazy how this team is 10-3.
Them and the Cardinals, they're just finding ways to win. That's how you do it as a football team.
Yeah, it's the Ravens. I mean, let's assume Lamar Jackson doesn't play. This is going to be really, really difficult. It took them a long time, even last week against the Browns, to actually start to score points.
They've actually been sucking. That 8-5 is the worst 8-5 I've seen anybody have this year. They're not playing up to what an 8-5 team should be playing like. They're actually playing bad. But you never know. But I think I know, and I think the Packers are going to win this game pretty badly.
Yeah, I have 6.5 points. I think the Packers should probably cover that.
Yeah.
Next game is Sunday night. The Saints are traveling to take on Tampa Bay and the Buccaneers. 10-3 for the Bucs, and the Saints are coming in at 6-7. Sean Payton might not be there. Drew Brees is not there anymore, so the leadership is all riding on the backs of Taysom Hill, the makeshift quarterback who gets a lot of money. The Bucs come in favored at 11 points, over under 45.5. I've never been, the minute you told me the Sean Payton news, I've never been more confident that there's literally no world that the Saints win this game. 0. I literally give the Saints a 0% chance to win this game. I've never done that in anything in football, especially before the game starts. But the Saints have no leadership. Literally, Drew Brees and Sean Payton have been the arching history of the Saints for the last decade or 2 decades, right?
Right.
And after Drew Brees, it's literally been Jameis Winston. So it's been Sean Payton, right? It's not Jameis Winston. And now you have Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill is leading the charge here.
It's going to be very tough.
Against Tampa and Tom Brady?
Yeah, he's going to have to throw. He's going to have to throw.
He's the one thing he hasn't done all year. I think Taysom Hill has the least amount of deep throws attempted all year as starting quarterback.
Yeah, that would make sense. Just some things to, like I told you, I always try to see how the weaker team could beat the better team. The Saints have won 3 straight regular season games versus Tom Brady. The Saints have also won 6 straight games versus the Buccaneers, including that one pick 6 where they just kind of made Tom Brady their bitch that game, right?
Last week or last time they played this year.
Yeah. So I mean, the defense has given Tom Brady some issues this year, just going from like recent interaction between the two teams. But this Buccaneers team that has shown up the last 2 games seems just impossible to stop. Fournette just getting unleashed, and then Tom Brady throwing for like 4 touchdowns during that same span. It's just, yeah, good luck. Good luck, Taysom Hill, because you're going to have to like play the best game you've ever played.
Here's the thing. The Saints played the Buccaneers on Halloween.
And the day before Halloween.
And the day before Halloween, and the Saints beat the Buccaneers. I don't think that Tom Brady is gonna get beat twice by the Saints. I mean, if he ever needs a reason to like stay focused and like have a reason to win a game, like that's the
reason is Drew.
Tom.
That would have been funny
Drew.
like 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, right.
I heard Tom Brady's not even finishing his dumps. He's only cutting the dumps halfway so he can study more.
Wow.
No, I'm kidding. I made that up.
Wow.
He's starting to wear a diaper. He's starting to wear.
Like, what happens to the rest of the dump?
He's starting to wear a diaper, and then he has a guy that comes and changes it, so he never loses focus.
In front of the screen.
I heard you can't even buy his dump. It's so expensive.
Wow.
Yeah.
I saw an article where a chick was selling her farts in a jar for
I saw
$70,000.
I saw that too.
Where did we see that?
I think I saw it on YouTube or some Instagram post.
Who would buy that?
Dude,
Fucking weird people, man. Fucking weird people.
Whose
$70,000.
Whose fart would you buy though? Like,
Nobody's. I would never buy anybody's fart.
So
I would never pay him out any money.
If I
for
was a
somebody's
billionaire, I would totally have a fart wall. I'd have a wall just filled with just my favorite people and their farts. And you guys can put your farts there too.
That means you'd have to get the farts from them.
In a jar.
I'm a billionaire. I ain't touching nobody's farts. I'm just watching their farts.
I feel like there's so many better things you could get of everybody's as a memorabilia than the jar of their farts.
We'll get your hair in the other room.
Damn, this is a weird ass fucking collection.
Yeah, you got to be the ones.
Hair and farts. Yeah, but the Bucs should win this game. I literally don't see a world that the Saints win this game. 11 points, another great 3-team teaser opportunity, getting the Buccaneers -1 at home. I actually love that. That's Sunday night, and then let's kick it into Monday night, guys. Monday night now has a doubleheader on the board. First game on the board. I don't know. What's the time on the Raiders
Vikings
game?
game's second.
Oh, so they're making the other game start at like 5?
Early, 5 o'clock.
Okay, so the first game on the board now is going to be the game that moved from Saturday to Monday. The Raiders and Browns were initially slated for Saturday. They are going to play on Monday in Cleveland. Browns are 7-6. The Raiders are 6-7. There is no line right now for this game. There is no over/under for this game. Too much COVID, too much uncertainty. So, I mean, what are we expecting this game to look like?
Uncertainty. No, but Browns also have no one from COVID, so I think that they're just going to run.
They have a lot. Don't they have COVID?
They are like the third most COVID team.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like they have no one playing because of COVID.
Okay.
Sorry. So I'm assuming they're just gonna run the ball and Chubb is gonna get most of the carries.
Yeah, I hope he gets no yards.
And some of D'Ernest action.
And some D'Ernest action. I mean, Landry isn't there, so
Hunt's hurt. I think
Hunt's hurt and has COVID.
Oh
yeah,
wow,
so
double whammy.
Yeah. Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Some end arounds and shit.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to try that hard to beat the Raiders, right? Yeah. Like, you don't need to be doing, like, crazy plays.
Yeah, but a bunch of backups. There's no Baker or Case.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying the Browns are going to win. I don't think the Browns are going to win at all.
Yeah.
Because the Raiders still have their full team, most of it at least, and they're just going to play Raider ball where they score about 28 points on prime time, and then, the usual. And I don't think, the Browns, what are you going to do? You don't have any of your receivers. You don't have any of your offensive linemen, by the way. 3 offensive linemen. Jadeveon Clowney, as of this morning, is on the COVID list too, so he's for sure not going to play. There's a lot of players that could come back, though. There's a lot of players that could come back by the time it's Monday, so we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, no predictions here because there's no lines to predict on.
Yeah,
so.
but if I were to ever start the Raiders defense ever, like this would be the game I'd start the Raiders defense.
I would start some Raiders players this week. I got some streaming options from different positions that I got to talk to you guys about.
You got to start Renfrow regardless.
Renfrow's a must start.
Yeah.
I would start Renfrow.
Who
else are the other Raiders
Jacobs
players?
must start.
You can start Derek Carr as a streamer.
Yeah.
No Lamar Jackson this week for players in playoffs.
Yeah,
myself. Yeah, I mean, option, right? We'll definitely talk about it, but I can't really go much into this. There's no line. There's like a lot of news pending for Monday night, but that game moved to Monday night, and then the other game that moved was which one? The Washington football team.
Yeah, you want to talk about the Vikings game that's on Monday? Or?
Oh shit, yeah, I totally fucking skipped that one. Yeah, so the Vikings game, which is the normal Monday night game, is now slated as the second game of the Monday night doubleheader. They're traveling to Chicago to take on the Bears. The Vikings are 6-7. The Bears are 4-9. Vikings favored on the road 5.5 points over under 44. Vikings have to win to have any hope for a playoff chance, and the Bears are 4-9, so their playoff hopes are gone. But Andy Dalton, COVID, Justin Fields starting. What are we liking and seeing?
There's a lot of defensive players with COVID too on the Bears side, which is huge.
Eddie Jackson,
which is huge for these receivers because we don't have Thielen. Thielen's probably not going to play. It's the same story with the Vikings. These one possession games all the time. We're 2-5 on the road this season, 4-2 at home. The Bears have won 5 of their last 6 games versus the Vikings. Just the usual stuff. There's really nothing new. They're probably going to be relying a lot. This is going to be Fields' probably biggest game because all of that was practice basically, and he just solidified how well he threw against Aaron Rodgers last week. We saw a lot of promise that we hadn't seen before. So I think all of that gets unleashed on us. So we're gonna have to see how this goes.
Yeah, I mean. This is one of those matchups where Vikings should win this game, right? You got Kirk Cousins, you got Dalvin Cook, and Jefferson's still there. Those guys aren't gone. And then the Bears, they've got Justin Fields and Montgomery and Mooney. As far as matchups is concerned, I like the Vikings' chances. I think that they should win. Although this is a primetime game, and Kirk Cousins in primetime is one of those things where is he going to show up or is he not going to show up?
Yeah.
And the Bears, the Vikings, I can't remember how many years it's been. I feel like every time we go to Soldier Field, we suck. And even when the Bears are really bad, on the road in Soldier Field, always tough to play. There's been numerous years where I've been like, this is a must, or this is an easy win. Mm-hmm. Chicago sucks, but we travel there. For whatever reason, we can't play well there. So, but yeah, top to bottom, we like our trio versus their trio, right? We haven't had any problems putting up points. It's not like the Bears defense has been playing all that well. And the Bears offense is run by a rookie quarterback right now that has his ups and downs, and so we just need to do enough. And I feel like as long as our offense plays like they do, we should win.
I think this is one of those games where we can afford to take our shoes or our feet off of the pedal. I think this is one of those games we can actually afford to do that. So we're talking about the 7th best passing offense and the 5th best offense overall in the Minnesota Vikings versus the 32nd best passing offense and 31st overall offense in the Bears. So if there's any game where I don't have to yell at the TV for what's happening, it's got to be this game. They don't have the weapons to sustain game-wide, scoring. They're either going to score a lot in the second quarter like they did against the Packers, or they're going to not score at all, or they're going to score sporadically throughout the game. But they don't have the weapons to score twice in the first quarter, one more time in the second quarter, 2 more times in the third quarter. But if there's any team to do that against, it is the Vikings. So
we lost to the Lions.
Yeah, that did happen.
I refuse to compare our opponent to anybody when we lost the Lions.
But you have to, right? It's our job.
Right.
It's just if there's any team that you can score a lot of points and not worry about them coming back, it's got to be the Bears. So I'm just hoping that Fields doesn't throw for 5 touchdowns.
Fields doesn't turn back the clock to Ohio State and just puts up a insane stat line. I mean, if there's a game for his stats to look good and for him to have one of his best games, it's against the Minnesota defense. Our defense isn't good. So we have a lot of good players back, though, and I don't know, from a COVID situation, a lot could change by now on Monday night.
Yeah, and the Bears also have non-COVID illnesses as well that are not totaled into the COVID illnesses. So they're a very decimated team without a lot of their good players. So we should be able to win this game.
If we again, we're clawing for a playoff spot right now. This is a game you have to have.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If you don't win this game, then just
playoffs are over. Then it's over.
Pack it up.
Yeah. Then it's over.
You don't even deserve to be going any further in this season.
So that's Monday night, and then the other game that is now moved to Tuesday is going to be the Washington football team at the Philadelphia Eagles. Big divisional game. Both teams coming in at 6-7. Both teams still fighting for that playoff spot from a wild card perspective. No lines here as well, as there's a shit ton of COVID decimation on the football team side, and so there is no line. I don't know what the line is, what the over-under is, but it is in Philly. They're both 6-7. Washington, I talked about last week. I feel like they've kind of lost their magic, their Cinderella moment, their chance to, be that team that jumps in or sneaks into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Now Heineke's hurt. McLaurin might not play. You can't really rely on Antonio Gibson to lead the charge.
I honestly would have probably picked the football team to win if there wasn't no COVID problems, because I don't think the Magic's like completely gone. It's definitely more gone than it was, but this is still a team that I feel like could beat some random team, and I'm gonna be like, oh, I guess that happened again.
Mhm.
But I wouldn't be like, oh my God, did they really do that?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this is the second most decimated team because of COVID. They're missing like all but nearly half of their players. And like I mentioned earlier, the Eagles have nobody on their injury report. They have one player, Quez Watkins, on the COVID list.
Right.
That's pertinent, but there's nobody injured on this team versus you're dealing with all your best players either stupid in Gibson or have a concussion in McLaurin,
Yep.
and both your quarterbacks are out.
Yep.
So how is the Washington football team going to beat the Eagles?
Wow. Quarterback, running back, stupid. Receivers are out, and your tight end has an ACL tear.
Yeah.
So yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
No, but there was this like resurgence of Washington football team for a little bit, but there was also a resurgence of the Eagles, right? When they started getting their
running the ball,
running the ball more. Jordan Howard and Boston Scott and Miles Sanders had a big game. So I feel like the Eagles are coming off of a bye week, right? They don't have injuries, and we've seen them kind of figure out this offense and let the run game flow so that Jalen Hurts can do his thing. So I feel like more of that is what we'll see. And even if football team wasn't injured, I would have still picked the Eagles because I think that they've proven themselves in the past 3-4 weeks of solid
You don't
football.
think the Washington football teams have
They
proven
have
themselves?
as well, but I mean I'm talking about who's the better team, and I'm going to pick the Eagles. I think the Eagles.
No, I'm picking the Eagles too now,
Yeah.
but I don't think I would have before. But yeah, I mean it's still it's 2, 6, and 7 teams from the same division
Right.
going at it. Could be anybody's game. I just what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is happening?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Eagles. I just think if Heineke doesn't play, like Heineke was their magic. Yeah, their defense is improved and stuff, but like Kyle Allen's not the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Their best receiver seems like he's not going to play. The running back that's the starter has been like an incredibly big disappointment this year. So yeah, unless we're expecting like their defense to carry him with turnovers, the Eagles are doing a good job running the football, right? And you have less chances to fumble. I mean, I would assume than throw interceptions. So I just like the fact that they're protecting the ball by running, controlling clock, and I just don't see the Washington football team being able to put up a ton of points. Like from who? From where? So
yeah, it's not going to happen. I don't know who's going to throw a touchdown pass for them.
yeah,
I know Gibson's not going to run a touchdown in. So
So yeah, I mean, barring from now to Tuesday, a major uplifting from COVID situation for the football team, it's going to be tough. But again, divisional game, both 6 and 7, coin toss, anything can happen, right? That's the last game on the board, I believe. Did I miss anything? Nope. Last game on the board. A lot of shuffling with the schedules. So many COVID issues. With two things, right? We have to go through our survivor picks yet, but I wanted to do a rundown since all of us are in the playoffs and all of our other leagues outside of the league of our own. Kind of run down our lineups who are playing real quick and see if there's any last minute questions on who should start over who. Because I definitely have some with my situation.
Yeah, I'll go first.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm starting Matthew Stafford, Tyreek Hill, KJ Osborne, James Robinson, David Montgomery, Travis Kelce, and Myles Gaskin. Okay, the people I could start instead of any of those players is Odell Beckham, Melvin Gordon, Michael Pittman, Deontay Foreman, Julio Jones, and the rest you don't have to worry about.
Damn, there's some options there.
That Myles Gaskin start is a concerning start just because it's Myles Gaskin, but that matchup is so
with
good.
the Jets.
Yeah,
with the Jets.
it's the Jets, and it's raining hardcore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All
so it's gonna be a lot of running in that game.
Yeah.
So that kind of made me drop some players to pick them up and just start them because I'm not starting them anymore. It's just this is the only week.
Yeah.
He can go back to the free agency after this.
Who
week.
the Rams play this week?
Rams
Seattle.
Play Seattle.
Odell
plays
OBJ
Seattle.
option there over.
It is a PPR league.
Who are your receivers real quick? Hill.
Yeah, Hill's done.
Yeah.
So it's just KJ Osborne is my only other receiver.
Okay.
I'm starting KJ Osborne over Odell Beckham, Michael Pittman, and Julio Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
that sounds like a solid start.
Yeah, it's not the worst start, right?
Yeah.
But-
Cousins likes to throw the ball.
I mean, the Colts have a hard matchup, right?
The Patriots.
Yeah, that's a tough.
Yeah. So I was like, let me just not let
Yeah.
the Patriots. Just Pittman's done for the day.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then the running backs, Gaskin, or would you start Gordon or Foreman?
Against who?
So Gaskin against the Jets, Gordon against Cincinnati, and Foreman against Pittsburgh.
Foreman sounds like the
PPR,
sexiest one.
not PPR. It's PPR.
This is PPR.
Yeah, I mean,
then-
it's gonna be between Foreman and Gaskin, but because of PPR, I don't mind Gaskin. The matchup's pretty fucking.
All right, then so we're gonna keep this lineup.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can go wrong. Is a good thing. I think you have the benefit of two guys that I would, if I had any of those guys just standalone, I'd throw them in my lineup, right? So I don't think you can go wrong with either of those guys. What about your other league? There's one other league.
Yeah, one other league. This one is non-PPR.
Okay.
So Rodgers is gonna start. Tyreek Hill already played.
Mm-hmm.
Andrews is not touchable.
Mm-hmm.
So the rest of them are running backs, Antonio Gibson and Foreman. I'm starting Foreman this one.
Mm-hmm.
And then wide receivers are Amari Cooper and KJ Osborne.
Oh wow.
Okay. So big Osborne, big Hill
Yeah.
guy, just everywhere. So my options got Miles Sanders
Okay.
against Washington. Not starting him.
Miles Sanders against Antonio Gibson. I just realized that.
Wow. Wow, I could just okay, yeah, no. Miles Sanders, Michael Pittman again on the bench on this one. Julio Jones on the bench, Tevin Coleman on the bench, Bateman versus Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
That one was intriguing to me.
Instead of Amari Cooper.
Instead of
Yeah.
Amari Cooper. And then I have AJ Green as well.
Oh,
So-
the AJ Green one is like.
But
But it's against Detroit. He could
Yeah.
get 2 catches
That's what
and
I'm
they
saying.
could
They
be
could
up
win by
40-0.
50. Yeah. It could just be a bunch of running touchdowns and shit too.
So you looking at gameplay, I had to start KJ Osborne. Like
Yeah.
at Chicago, which is a tough place. Minnesota's lost 6 of the last 7 games. I feel like we're going to be every game we're close. It's a close
Yeah.
game. We're never not throwing, right? We're always throwing the ball.
Yep.
So yeah, I think AJ Green and Bateman or Osborne or Cooper. You guys see a world where Cooper gets demoted here?
I mean, Cooper's been disappointing. He's been hurt.
Yeah,
like,
but
he's-
now he's fully healthy.
Yeah, he is fully healthy.
That's
But
the
I'm
only
always
thing.
a big proponent of like guys who even when they like before, it's not like he was putting up insane stats, right? So he's not like an immediate plug. I'm always
Yeah.
like, give me 1 week of fully healthy guy before. That's why like my hesitation in the Michael Carter situation, right? So I that it's tough. I mean, Cooper. at
But
his
which
best
one of
day
these
could be-
guys which one of these guys out of AJ Green and Bateman are those guys that?
I'm starting.
I w-
I would
I-
start Green over Cooper.
Yeah, I don't think that the Cardinals are just not going to throw, right? I don't
Right.
think I think Murray will still have yards, and I think there'll still be catches to be had, and the matchup is so
Like
intriguing.
if Hopkins was there, do you start Hopkins or Cooper?
Hopkins.
Right. But AJ Green now takes Hopkins' role.
AJ Green is not Hopkins.
But I mean, he had like 10 receptions
No,
last game, right?
sure,
and,
that's
and like
fine.
12 targets.
That's
like
fine.
He'll get the throws that Hopkins didn't get.
That's one game. You're not gonna change my mind about sample size off of one game.
This
Then I would
is-
never win a championship
Yeah.
if I use that mentality all the time. Oh, last week this guy did so well.
Yeah.
He should do this week again. No,
But I
that's
mean,
not how this
you haven't
works.
seen Amari Cooper do well either.
Right.
So I'm saying
I haven't. So what I'm going off of is players that I can trust. Right. I know that I drafted Cooper. I didn't draft AJ Green. I didn't draft Bateman. Why? Why did I draft Cooper? Because of his history and the connection with Dak Prescott, which has been struggling this year because of injuries. And now there is no injury designation. And I've been following up on the practices, and he's been full practice for the first time since like week 7, right? So, and it's against the Giants, divisional matchup. So, again, it's a close one, right? I was actually going to start Bateman over AJ Green just because AJ Green's statistics, if you look at his stat sheet, he gave me 10 points last week. Congratulations, you got 10 targets. The week before that, 1 target. I will never ever forgive myself if I started somebody and they got 1 target.
That's true.
It's just not like
Yeah.
that's not how you play fantasy football. And then the week before that, 4 receiving yards. 4 receiving yards on 5 targets.
Yeah.
In what world will I start this player?
No, I mean, it's only because Hopkins
been injured those games too.
Yeah, but I mean, Murray didn't play those games either,
True.
right? So now Murray is back.
So,
and
so now there's more things that have to go right for AJ Green to succeed versus
Yeah.
it was just the one injury for Cooper, right? Because
Yeah.
Cooper is still top 2 players versus AJ Green. We don't like some of the the stat sheet here with Murray. He's got games where he has 2.5 points, 1.3 points, 5 points, 0 points one game. Guess he was injured. 0.4 points one game. These are with Murray stats. So at the end of the day, I just have to decide what is most likely to happen.
Sure.
So there's a really good chance that the 12 targets may not happen. It could happen, but I've seen enough of the deep bombs to Cooper, whereas even if I got 1 deep bomb to Cooper and got nothing else, and he tore his hamstring at halftime, I would be satisfied with that one thing that I kind of knew was going to happen versus hoping for things to happen that I haven't really seen happen. Because in those things, I can't forgive myself for starting when I knew that was more ambiguous than something I've seen repetitively happen. So yeah, this is a very complex situation. That's why you have to make these decisions, right? So yeah, this might change. Who knows? AJ Green might get COVID by Monday, and Cooper.
Hope he's not hanging out with Hopkins or whoever else has COVID over there.
I don't know, but we'll see. I guess I'm gonna go with Cooper for now, and then we'll see what AJ Green and Bateman end up doing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Bateman's tough just with Huntley, but I don't know. Yeah, that'll be interesting. Do you have anything?
Taysom Hill or Justin Fields?
Oh God. Oh my God, that's tough. Dude.
Oh man. Taysom Hill, just from history standpoint.
Okay.
I'd start Justin Fields.
I think I'm gonna lean in towards Justin Fields at this point instead of Taysom Hill. And then I've got like this whole running back situation. It's Foreman or Stevenson
in a PPR league.
Yeah. Foreman, Stevenson, and Gaskin. So,
dude, I mean, those are good problems to have.
Yeah.
There's people struggling for running backs. You have three guys.
As you heard, I'm starting Foreman in one of my leagues.
Yeah.
But if I had those other players, I would probably start those other players over Foreman.
Stevenson or
Foreman
Gaskin.
might get 20 points easily, just running all over that Steelers defense.
Yeah.
He could do that. But you got to go with what's more likely to happen, and there's a higher chance of Foreman not getting any catches, right? So you're missing out on points right there.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody is equally likely to get in the end zone for the most part. Foreman's probably most likely to get into the end zone just because he gets those carries. Versus Gaskin, when do they use Gaskin?
In the red zone.
He gets those.
Wildcats.
Wildcats.
Yeah. Malcolm Brown is back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you look at the numbers when Malcolm Brown was playing, Gaskin. I remember how angry you were because you never saw Gaskin on the field.
This is true.
That's a possibility of happening because it is the Jets, so they might go with a run-heavy approach with everybody. It might not just be a Gaskin thing. Versus the Titans, will use Foreman. Like they will run the ball with Foreman until they can't run anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
I like Stevenson.
Yeah. Stevenson, because he gets the passes and he gets the rushes and he gets the goal lines. You have all three.
And literally, it's the Patriots, a team that I trust with my life.
That's what they do. They run the ball.
Yes.
Yeah. Whereas like Titans, they still have Hilliard. They still have they have like this RBBC committee going on.
Yeah.
Whereas
I think we've seen when Harris is in there, they will feed Stevenson.
Yeah. This is a clear-cut Stevenson.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you have?
Yeah, so mine starts literally at the quarterback spot. So Lamar Jackson might not play.
Yeah.
My streaming option this week right now, I have Kirk Cousins starting at Chicago.
Damn, what are your other options?
Oh, it's slim pickings here on this waiver wire free agency quarterback situation. I mean, my options are Tua against the Jets.
Yeah.
I like that one. I was going to start Tua, and then I decided to go all crazy fantasy football wizard mode, and I just picked up Minshew instead.
Damn. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, Wentz is still a free agent but it's against New England. Matt Ryan's a free agent against San Francisco. I have Fields as an option against Minnesota. Trevor Lawrence against Houston. Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going Tua there out of all these guys, but I know you don't really like Tua that much, so you got to make a decision.
Yeah, but I also don't really like Cousins that much, and he's starting. So not liking him is not the reason I'm not starting him. I just think.
What's the reason?
What do you think is going to happen in this Vikings game? Like, Dalvin Cook's just going to run the ball and
no. If I thought that, I wouldn't be starting Cousins. I think Cousins can have like 3 touchdown passes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if Eddie Jackson, especially, like if their secondary is leaky, yeah, we'll run the ball. But Dalvin Cook has like his best game of the season was last game. And he had 2 touchdowns, but every other game that he scored a touchdown, it's always been 1 touchdown, right? And if our offense can continue to put up points, it's got to come from Kirk.
Mm-hmm.
So. That's my only thing, but
so what are you gonna do?
I don't know. I have no idea what I'm gonna do. I mean, there's some time to think about it, but the Jets are really bad. But
yeah, that's enough information for me. The Jets are just so bad. Like they're 32nd in pretty much every passing category. I think like the top 3 passing categories they're like the worst in.
Yeah, and Tua's proven himself the last when he's been playing. I mean, I think you have. I need to check the stats.
It's like around 18, 17. There's like 1 in the 20s.
Yeah.
So you just bank on like a little bit more than 15.
Yeah, and I mean Cousins 21, 17, 25, 15, 20. So
yeah,
28.
Very similar. Which one's playing the Jets? Too easy of a choice for me. I would go Tua.
That's fair. Jets good matchup. What else? Hold on. I have a couple of other things here real quick. My running back situation, I have Montgomery. I'm starting. Again, Elijah Mitchell's hurt, so I slated Jeff Wilson in there, but then I picked up Ramondre Stevenson. I think I have to go with Stevenson over Wilson at least, just because even if it's Atlanta, it's Atlanta's an intriguing matchup. Wilson hasn't gotten into the end zone, but he's never there on third downs.
Yeah, and Atlanta doesn't allow 100-yard rushers. Like if there's one thing Atlanta's like proud of, it's like their ability to not let people do too much on the running game.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. That sucks because like 49ers love running the ball. What if he catches heat early and like?
If it was Elijah Mitchell, it's a must start. I love
yeah.
Elijah Mitchell, but Jeff Wilson, the weeks I've slated him in when Elijah Mitchell has been out, he hasn't been good enough, and this is the playoffs, and I don't have time to fuck around because Kelsey dropped a cool 36 on me last night. So
those are probably same weeks that Deebo Samuel gets like 8 carries also, right?
Yeah. The Wilson weeks are the weeks that Deebo Samuel's used more in the backfield.
Right.
The Mitchell weeks are like, let's give
Solo.
Mitchell the ball 30 times.
Yeah.
So, and then my flex spot right now, I have Michael Carter, who's still slated IR, but he's supposed to come off the IR and per Robert Saleh get a increased significant workload, and it's against Miami. But I have Chase Edmonds on my bench, and I don't know if Henderson plays or not. I have Sony Michel still there. And then my other...
dude, you could have just put Sony in, but they moved the game to Tuesday, so now like...
Anything can happen.
Yeah, because it would have been... You could have went Ramondre, Montgomery, and Sony Michel, and that would have been...
Yeah.
Because like none of those guys share the ball.
Yeah.
Like that would all be just... You can't blame yourself if one of those guys does bad because that is the only running back they use.
Is Jamal Williams already out?
I think he's injured and he's on the COVID list. He's just like Hunt.
Yeah, ESPN has him as out. So
Okay.
I don't know.
ESPN was wrong, but they've been wrong. But I mean, yeah, nonetheless, yeah, I like that. So I'm thinking I go Stevenson over Wilson, and Carter I keep in my flex. And then my receivers are Kupp and Jefferson, so pretty solid there. I'm starting Dolphins defense against the Jets this week. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Yeah, I'm just all about fading the Jets since week 1.
Yeah,
and Dolphins defense is blitzing like crazy. That's a lot of turnovers, a lot of sack points probably.
And somehow I lucked in a Nick Folk. Nick Folk. He was a free agent.
Wow.
He's questionable, but he's the number 1 kicker.
Damn,
Picked him up.
What the fuck?
Yeah, but he's questionable. I don't know if he's
Does he
gonna
have
be hurt.
COVID too?
No.
Who doesn't have COVID at this point?
He's been a regular on the injury report, but he's 37 years old. So all right, yeah. So that's my lineup in that other game. But yeah, I played against Keenan Allen and Kelsey last night and Harrison Butker. So I'm down 60-0 already after 3 players.
Damn.
Yeah.
Butker, what did you get? 8?
Yeah, Butker got 8. Keenan Allen got like 17, and then Kelsey got 36.
Damn.
And then in our league, I played you.
Yeah,
and Herbert got 23. After watching the game, there were so many more points that were left off the table.
Right.
Like you know how he ran a touchdown in. He had another opportunity where he kept it, and they just got stuffed.
Oh yeah.
And then there were 2 4th and 2 opportunities where he threw and both incompletions. Like, got so many points left, but I can't be too upset about it.
Yeah, 24, 23.
23.
Yeah, dude.
Threw a pick.
Dude, if Jalen Hurts got me 23, I'd be partying.
Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting. Gonna be a lot on the line this week. Anything else you guys have? Survivor picks?
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Let's do our survivor picks real quickly. So you show it. You're starting this week. You're 9-5. Give me your survivor pick.
Yeah. So my survivor pick is gonna be the Miami Dolphins.
The Shishot strategy.
Yeah.
Fade the Jets.
Wait, is that what you said earlier?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Fading the Jets.
Fading the Jets. Miami at home.
That's right.
Are they at home?
It's supposed to be really rainy,
Yeah, it's
so
at
I
Miami.
assume it's Miami.
It's Miami. Okay, I like that. Miami. I'm gonna take the Cowboys. The Cowboys on the road against the Giants.
Yeah. And I'm going with the Packers. Packers against anybody, doesn't matter.
Packers who are they playing this week? Oh, Baltimore. They're at Baltimore this week. Should you're 11-3 and I'm 14-0. So you have to lose.
So is this my last chance? I had like 4 chances.
Yeah, you're
It's
down
getting there.
3 in the loss
It's
column.
getting
So
there.
2 more weeks.
Yeah.
2 more weeks.
Yeah.
But yeah, still chasing that perfect record. That would be insane. That's the episode, guys. That is previewing Week 15. Thank you guys for sticking around. Thanks for whoever jumped into the live stream for an hour max, because apparently Instagram has a max. But we'll do more of that. I definitely want to do it more and have it more like structured than we just kind of off the cuff. But appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll be back on Monday for a recap of Week 15. We're the only playbook. We'll see you then.